Do you feel like your business is running your life instead of the other way around? I'm Roy Castleman. I built multiple seven-figure companies, worked across continents, and coached high-performing entrepreneurs. But I've also been completely burnt out. At one point, I was barely seeing my daughter, drowning in stress, and one step away from walking away from it all. That's when I made a decision to build a business and a life that works for me. The journey became Elevate 360, a system to help business owners reclaim their time, find their energy again, and get back in control without sacrificing growth. And this podcast, Power Movers, is where I share real stories behind that shift. Each week you'll hear from entrepreneurs, founders, and leaders who've walked through the fire and come out the other side with clarity, courage, and a system that works. If you're ready to build a business that gives you more life instead of taking it away, you're in the right place. Hey, Power Movers. I'm here today with Stefanie. And Stefanie does something that I've had my chart done, shall we say. Found it really fascinating. So Stefanie does human design. And she takes a different angle on it. She takes an angle of how human design can influence and affect our business decisions. So
Yeah.
welcome to the podcast, Stefanie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
So tell me, first of all, your entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
Where were you, and then what made you decide to take that step? That, okay, now I'm going to go and work for myself.
Yeah. So I've always been someone who never really felt like I fit into the mold. I've always felt different. And now that I know my human design, looking back, I understand why, and I'll get to that in a second. But I still followed the normal trajectory of life because my parents told me to. That's how society says we're going to be successful. So I graduated high school. I got the college degree. I even got my master's. I got the perfect, quote unquote, perfect job and immediately felt like I was shrinking, that I almost couldn't breathe. I just knew that it wasn't for me. And my dad was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's pretty shortly after I started that job. And that was my triggering moment to know that I didn't belong here. Yes, I was in debt from school and all the things, but I did not belong where I was. And I took that as my jumping off point to really lean into entrepreneurship and figure out how the heck I can build my own thing while being by his side as much as I can through the trajectory of that disease. And I did. I went headfirst into it. I knew I had no other option. I didn't give myself any other option. And I built a big business over the next 10 years. And I lost my dad to Alzheimer's, and it broke me wide open to the fact that I had built this business. Yes, I had great success. Yes, but I was so exhausted, unfulfilled, frustrated. I didn't love my business at all. It was not me anymore. And so I took that time to really grieve basically the loss of a business, the loss of my biggest cheerleader and my dad. And I really just allowed myself to come home to myself. And it was in that time I was introduced to human design, and I thought it was fluff. I thought it was another personality test, but I decided, why not? I've got to figure out more about me, why I'm feeling like this. And I read it and I understood exactly why I've always felt the way I felt. I've never felt so heard, validated, seen. And I knew that this was my calling to incorporate this into the entrepreneurial space to help people find success that feels good and not go through what I went through.
That's such a good point, isn't it? I've been playing with this idea that businesses are like children, right? Birth a business.
Yeah.
We don't, sometimes you buy a business, that's like an adopted child, but we birth a business. We have an idea where we can go out into the world and we can fix a problem. Yeah, and then we go into this business and we start out and this baby is now keeping us up all night, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I can't sleep. I don't have any sleep. My life's not my own anymore. And then you go the next day, the terrible twos arrive and something happens. There always something happens in those first couple of years. If you can survive those first couple of years, you're doing well.
Yeah.
And then we go to the teenage years. Yeah. And yeah, at the teenage years, it's just hard work. It's just really hard work. You've got to have eyes in the back of your head. There's always so many things going. And so many of us get stuck in those teenage years in business. Right?
Yeah.
We don't really know exactly what we're doing. We've got there, we may be successful, but we end up being in a prison that we've made, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, wow.
Yeah, that's interesting because I always say that human design doesn't put you in a box. It sheds a light on the box you put yourself in. So what's happening and what every single one of my clients comes to me with is just this knowing of more. There's more to this. I have more to give. I know it can feel good. And what we've done unintentionally is follow the expert guidance, the guidance of the people we follow on social media, from the people that have been up on the stages. And we follow them in tiny bits and pieces of our business, the marketing, the niching, the way to post a specific way or the way to email a specific way. And we slowly turn the dial down on how we're actually meant to work, because your human design teaches you how you're meant to market, how your voice is meant to be heard, how people see you, if social media is right for you or not, how you're meant to show up on social media, et cetera, et cetera. And we have completely bypassed that and looked at everyone else outside of us, which disconnects us from our body and how we're meant to do things, which that is what causes the burnout and the frustration. And what we think of burnout, it is we think that it is the amount of things we have on our plate, and it is really the misalignment to the things we have on our plate, because I do lots of things in my business every day and they're 100% aligned to my human design, so I have zero burnout now. I think that's the biggest thing, is people have outsourced their thoughts and their ideas.
That's a really interesting angle. Really interesting angle. I like that.
Yeah.
As you're going through that process, what was your first business? If you don't mind me asking.
My first business was health and fitness coaching.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and
how big did you
I
grow that?
how what?
How big did you grow? You said it was very successful.
Yeah, I had 6,000 customers. I had helped
Wow.
hundreds of other people step into the online space, and it felt not good. And the thing is, I look back and I look at those people that I taught to start businesses to, and I taught them the same way I learned, with the same way I did it, which no wonder so many never found success, because it wasn't aligned to them. And now going back, every single client I work with is completely different, which is why I love what I do, because I'm a 3/5 manifesting generator in human design, and I am not meant to do the same thing every day. It will kill me. And I am meant to pivot fast. And it actually says I am meant to build something really big, burn it down, and teach with what actually works, which is what I'm doing. So it's really cool to see it all play out.
That's really interesting because I'm also a manifesting generator. That's what I do. Yeah, and then break it down and teach it. Yeah, I love that. So tell us about that journey. You're in a situation now where you've gone from high revenue, lots of people, we're very busy, and now you're like really focusing down. What does that
Mhm.
look like?
It just feels so good and so aligned. And the people that I work with now, my clients, are my people. In my other business, lots of the clients that came to me were not my people. We didn't fit. And that's the thing also with when you market like your human design says to, and show up in that way, you bring in people that are meant for you and that are aligned with you. I think a lot of times in business, we have clients that we don't love to work with, and that's not the case for me now, but it was in my first business. And so I just love the slower pace of working one-on-one with people to build their businesses aligned with who they actually are. It's really fascinating to learn who people are. The reflectors are one of the energy types to manifest or in human design. And I have a reflector client right now, and she's 1% of the population, and her business looks so much different than a manifesting generator. So it's just really cool to see and watch their life and their eyes come to life when they see, oh, this is actually how I'm supposed to do it. And it feels really good. Yeah.
Amazing. What I do is problem that I see in entrepreneurs is they're so busy, first of all, they don't take any time for themselves. So first of all, I have to give them some space and time with AI, and yeah, that's really coming into its own at the moment. And what is your kind of experience with AI, and how are you doing it? And
Yeah. So that's one thing that my clients all get. when they work with me is a AI that's trained on human design and it's shut off from the internet. So I think AI is so amazing and it can help you with so many things. I saw something the other day and it said, when I don't feel smart, I realize that I graduated high school without the use of AI or something like that. But AI is just taking off in a good way, I feel, if you use it for good. There's a lot of people that aren't. They're showing up and not using it for good. But if you use it for good and you train it in how you speak, how you're meant to show up, who your people are, what your business is, it can help you tremendously. Yeah. So I do work with them, but they're completely turned off from the internet and they're trained in human design.
Yeah, and it's just yeah. So that's the first piece is actually let's get some time back. Yeah,
Yeah.
how do you show up for yourself? How do you actually ensure that your own mental wellness, your own physical wellness, that your energy is right for today? We have this energy problem where we go into the day, we wake up in the morning, and we're already thinking about yesterday. Yeah,
Yeah.
what went wrong, and we're thinking about tomorrow, what's going to come, and we just minimize our energy. Yeah, the tools that I use or that have worked for me, again, taking that story you were just telling, the breath work, the meditation, the cold exposure, and then making sure the diet's right, making sure you're doing the sleep that you need to do, all of these kind of things. That's been so formative in my life. I'm interested now in how I might inspire people through the human design side to do the right things for
Mhm.
them. What
Yeah.
works for you?
Yeah, so it's so different from for other people too. And honestly, the more you live in your design, the more you like it's you relax and you don't grip so hard and you are so okay with being you, you don't care about anything else. And that in itself will just the nervous system relaxes and you show up authentically, you show up powerfully, you show up in the way you're meant to show up. And that in itself is just so important to really understand who you are because what happens is when you know how you're saying we are thinking about yesterday already, a lot of times we have right when we wake up, we're allowing external noise, external voices, social media, whatever, to get into our space. And that will shut off our dopamine right away in the morning. And so just again, staying in your power, staying in your own design and your unique because your design actually tells you your life's work that you're meant to do here and when you figure that out you just it's just one straight line and you just stop outsourcing everything which is what I think creates so much sickness and illness and burnout. Yeah.
And just interestingly, a lot of the people you work with presumably are business owners. And how do you take this concept into the rest of their company? How do you, we've all done the personality tests and we've all done the Myers-Briggs or whatever they are, and it's super useful to understand how to communicate with other people. Is that something that you get involved with and get the staff to do things? How does that work?
Yeah, I think it's crucial. And the way that human design is different from those tests is that those tests are answered from a conditioned mind, a mind that has been through societal conditioning, upbringing, whatever it might be. And human design is based on your birth information and 3 months prior to that. So I always say it's written in the stars for you. People think sometimes it's out there in the beginning until they read their charts. I've had at this point over 1,000 people get their chart, and I've had one person come back and say, "This really isn't me." And we found out her birth time was wrong. And so it's very accurate when you actually give it a chance. But yeah, so as far as going into other parts of their business, it's and the communication you talked about. So that's one thing that I believe as leaders, if you have a team with your business or if you are in any setting where you're a leader or you're in a group of people, it's important to know everybody's human design because we each have different strengths in that group. We each have some of us create superpowers together and which is really cool to see and the communication style is going to be different. For instance, manifestors are very closed off, and some people might think that they are not warm and fuzzy, and they did something wrong to them. But that's in reality, that's really who they are. And so, just knowing that about your clients, about your people that you work with every day, is so important, and to prevent just unnecessary conflict. And then you also put it in your marketing, in the how, like I said, how people see you on the stage of life and the people you're meant to help, the qualities that they have too. So it teaches you how to market to them.
So you raised an interesting point there that I've struggled with myself. Birth times. You need the time of day you're born, right? And many of us don't have that. So how do you get that?
I've really haven't run across that many that don't have it. I've had one person who said that she was adopted and couldn't find hers. And then my daughter's wasn't on hers. So I had to track down the hospital and then the clinic and then talk to the right person to get hers. So I think it's just a matter of if you really truly want to have this be a driving force in your life because it can change everything, then you call people. I don't know. It just depends on the circumstances, but I've never had have had maybe a couple people come to me and say I don't have my birth time. But if you don't have your birth time, and if at least if you know in the morning or the afternoon, that's helpful, but it's 100% accurate if you know your exact birth time. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have my birth time. I was born in Zimbabwe. Hospitals don't even have phones anymore. My mom didn't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
And I actually jumped through a whole bunch of hoops to try and find mine. So I've had, yeah, and some pendulum stuff and yeah, and now I think I've got it. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
Um,
I think it is one of those things where if you really want to know it, it's somewhere. It's got to be somewhere. Yeah.
sure. Yeah, what's it? Kinesiology, kinesiology, whatever that word is. Yeah,
Yeah.
that can tell you as well. So there are ways and means. Yeah, in terms of your business right now, you're a solo entrepreneur. Yeah,
Hmm.
do you see yourself growing more than this? How would you do that with what you're doing?
Yeah. So I want to in 2026 because I am pretty full with my one-on-one clients. I want to do group coaching where I teach. I now have a portal where they can have access to self-study themselves endlessly for their own human design. Because I believe that I can't just teach you your human design if you're not going to self-study and really evolve through it. Because you can read something about your design and then a month later you're more evolved and it's going to look different to you or feel different to you. And so they have that. And then I want to create a membership too, where I do monthly trainings on specific parts of human design. Yeah. And I want to get this into schools, and I have a local group where I do like bachelorette parties and bridal parties, group readings and stuff like that to help them understand. We make it fun so they can see each other better. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole other angle, isn't it? Relationships.
Mhm.
That could-
Oh, yeah. I end up helping most people with relationships too. They figure out what their family's chart is and understand their kids and because I believe in order to be successful in business, you have to know everybody around you and they have to know you. My husband knows me better. He thought I used to be crazy with all these different ideas and changes and pivots, and now he understands it and it gives me the space. So,
Yeah, we are difficult on our families and relationships. Bounce to a new thing, bounce to a new thing, change around, do 10 things at once.
yeah.
Yeah. So now you go through this process, you build and you grow and you scale. And I love that idea of a membership. Yeah. When are you thinking of launching that? What's your plans?
In 2026 is my goal to transition to group coaching, and I'll still have one-on-one clients, but group coaching for everybody else, and then a membership probably, I don't know, April-ish would be my timeline.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
It's a bright future. Yeah. Let's go back
Mhm.
to a little bit about, yeah, what do you do for fun? How do you actually, how do you make sure you live the life you love?
Yeah. Right now, my kids' sports are everything. So I just love going to watch them. That's one thing that entrepreneurship has gifted me is that my son is in middle school right now and their basketball games are at 3:30. There's no way I would be able to go if I was at 9 to 5. Going there, we have one today, and that's what lights me up. And getting outside anytime I can when it's nice out. I want to live somewhere that it's nice out all the time. Or
You know what's funny? I used to live somewhere where it was nice out. I lived in Durban on the beach, yeah,
Mhm.
on the 13th floor of a building, 30 degrees every day, centigrade, not whatever that is. Yes, 100,
Yeah.
100 degrees. And the thing is, when you have that every day, yeah, you
Yeah, you
don't
don't. Mhm.
it's so much. So I actually enjoy
Yeah.
it. I'm in Seattle at the moment. I live in London. The weather's normally, yeah, not so great. but I really do appreciate it when the sun comes out. Really
Yeah,
do.
for sure.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about where the world is at the moment. I love what you're doing. I think it's, yeah, so important. If you find something, I don't know of anyone else doing what you're doing, and I've looked around a bit, but if you find something, you can really make a change. What do you see the challenges are for the next year? AI by itself is just going to cause such a strange time, you know.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then we've got all the planets and everything doing strange
Mhm.
things as well. And then we've got, the Bitcoin, the financial systems, and, heaven forbid I talk about politics, but that's also, where do you see, 2026 taking us?
Yeah. It's it's going to be bumpy for a little bit, but I'm actually really excited for the ride because I know in 2027 is when the new era shifts and completely we're in it now, we're shifting now, but the new era is going to be completely shifted to this other side where it's more of we have to understand ourselves in order to move the collective forward. So that's why education systems are breaking down. That's why political systems are breaking down, pharmaceutical, medical systems. It's all breaking down because we can no longer survive as a species on the way that this has been created, which, if you know the history of things, education was created to create workers instead of thinkers, to put them on assembly lines. And we haven't changed that. And so it's time. It's the era of the individual is here. And that's why human design is becoming more known. And it's important because in order for us to step out of what's actually going on around us, we have to know ourselves and how our energy works and how we're meant to move through the world in order to step out of that and become the place where I actually have the life's purpose, the incarnation cross of the new era, which is rare, but means I'm supposed to lead this. And that's why I know I'm here because I'm supposed to lead this new shift from fear and stress and where we have normalized burnout, we've normalized exhaustion and into this new era of knowing ourselves.
This is the age of Aquarius. What's the age of Aquarius?
I don't know.
What age are we going? We're going into something that's
Oh, I get you. Yeah. Okay.
much more about the electronic and about all things that can help us more. And I love AI for that. And it's this evolution that we're going through. To your point with AI, I see so many people using it as I can do some emails, right?
Mhm.
I can ask a couple of questions, but it's so much more than that in terms
Mhm.
of beforehand we had this, yeah, we had to learn inside our minds. So we had to get a book or a video and we had to consume the whole thing, it, and that
Yeah.
and we could do an output. And now information is basically free. £20 a month, $20 a month, you can have everything that has ever been written on the
Yeah.
internet. Just, yeah. And we
Yeah.
don't know how to use that. And so, now the opportunity that I see for people is really how do we start thinking in that different way? How do we, yeah, and people will talk about prompting and they'll talk about all sorts of things, but it's much more than that, I think. It's
Mhm.
this constant idea of, right, I'm going to better myself. How do I better myself? I love learning. I'm always learning. Every day I'm learning something new. And
Mhm.
yeah, I'll be picking up with you afterwards in terms of my communication style because I'm super interested to learn a bit more about that. And how do I put my information out there in the correct way? So I go
Mhm.
on to ChatGPT or Claude or whichever other one there is. And if I ask the question, just help me do a post, I get one thing. But if I ask the question, my ICP is this, and this is what I'm trying to do, and this is who I am, what's the best way to bring that across?
Mhm.
An entirely different thing. And again, with the problems, you don't even need to know what the solution is, or how you fix it. All you need to know is what the problem is in the context. Now you have access to every expert that ever lived.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I think it's just really an evolution of how we think.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It is. And it's helping us become, I think, more, what is the word I want to use? I don't know what the word is, but we're learning to experiment more. We're learning to try different things. A lot of the ideas that I've actually created products with have come from my ChatGPT. And it started there, right? It started with this idea, and I would think, oh my gosh, this is brilliant. And then I would make changes and stuff like that. But our brains can only do so much. When we use this other tool in the right way, again, it has to be used in the right way, then it can change everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. And that using it in the right way is so important because one of the fundamentals that I teach is that AI is a yes man, right?
Mhm.
Because AI has been created in our image, right? And if you were to first meet someone, the first thing you do is try and make them like you. So you go to AI and you say, I've got this great idea. I'm going to, sell glasses to bars. Yeah,
Yeah.
magic idea. And AI will say,
Yeah.
that's a great idea, Roy. So let's work through. How can I help you do that? Yeah, but if you frame it in the right way and say, listen, don't mollycoddle me. Don't
Hmm.
be a critical thinking here. This is the idea I've got. Suddenly you get a totally different answer.
Yeah.
Just trying to understand how that all ties together. And as you say, just use it as a tool. And
Mhm.
I think AI is a 60% tool. Right.
Yeah.
Using
Yeah. That
60%.
sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it really, I think the learnings and the lessons for me have been I have to be the thought leader. I have to
Mhm.
maintain my thought leadership in this. Sure that I've got a very good conscious picture of what I want out of it. Yeah, and then it's keeping the rails in, keeping it really focused and making sure, oh no, that doesn't sound right, and bringing it.
Yeah.
I think we're in for a very interesting time as we go forward.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think we've covered some amazing things there. What can you offer to people? How do you work? How do
Yeah.
people touch with you?
Yeah, I want to gift you all something because the one thing that I've learned about human design is that when you first get your human design chart, it looks gibberish. You don't really know what it means, and most people put it on the shelf and think, "Oh, that's just another personality test. I'll just read it later." And I don't want that. So I call it a human design starter pack. So for free, you get your free chart, you get 12-page PDF, and then you get an 8-part audio that helps you understand the different pieces of human design that can transform your business. So it helps you really get a sense of, wow, this can be life transforming. So I always want people to start there. And I wanted to make it free because most people charge for just pass the chart or even charge the chart, which is my mission is to get this out to the world. So that's why I'm doing that.
Oh, that's amazing. So I'll share a link and everyone can go on and do that. And then
Yeah.
if they wanted to work with you, just reach out to you from there.
Yep. In the 5-part or the 8-part audio, you can, and then at the bottom of the 12-page PDF, also, you can book a free call with me, which it's just really an audit where I take you through specific questions about your business in specific areas and we figure out where the gaps are and see if design can transform yours too. I have several offers that I help people based on their needs at the time.
Oh, really cool.
Yeah.
I'll dig into that as well because I'm super interested to find out some more.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me, Stephanie. Have you got any last words of wisdom for everybody?
I think just remembering that you are unique and human design is the science of differentiation and you are unique. You are uniquely placed here to do something completely different in the world than anybody else around you. So just know that if something feels heavy, if it feels off, if you're frustrated, if you're overwhelmed, it's not meant to be like that. And I say that human design will bring you home to who you were before the world told you who to be. So it's just time to unlock it. Yeah.
Logic. Thank you so much for joining. It's been
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Power Movers, the podcast from All the Power, where our mission is to help business owners reclaim their time, reset their energy, and live the life they love. If this episode sparked something for you, your next step is simple. Take the fit check at allthepower.co.uk. It's a short clarity tool that helps you see where you are, what's getting in the way, and what might be possible if you have the right system. When you're ready, come and join the tribe. Power Movers start with our signature framework called Elevate 360, a system built to help you escape survival mode, create structure, and move forward with power. Just remember, everything we share here is based on real stories, experience, and frameworks. It's not personal business advice. Always speak to a coach or advisor before making big decisions. Because in the end, it's about more than business. It's about building a life that you actually love. I'm Roy Castleman, and I'll see you in the next episode.